Now, on the flipping side, what we talked about earlier, you got to do good renovations. Any renovation that you do, make sure you're doing quality rehab, putting good products in there, putting a good product out on the market. You might have to go back to staging homes, taking really good professional pictures. There's no more of this hoteling stuff. We're seeing less and less of that. Like, you're going to have to take down a house and actually do a good renovation and not cut corners. I wanted to cover real quick that case study pretty much of that investor that reached out to us wanting to sell a package deal of those 3 houses.
No.
And what was the combined value of all 3 houses that they were trying to sell? Was it like 6 and change?
Yeah,
because they were all in the 200s,
so
right?
Like the ARV, like retail fixed up.
What they were listed for, because they were all listed. Weren't they all listed for like 200 and change?
Yeah, I want to say it was around that or something like that.
So yeah, so
it was like high 5s, low 6s, something like that when you looked at it. But it was listed like they were under market value, but not by much.
Yeah.
And 2 of the 3 had massive foundation problems.
Yep.
Tens of thousands of dollars, including plumbing that would be in there. And they were only listed like 20 grand below what the retail value was when they're fixed up. And when we went,
they were rehabbed. They were
not rehabbed. Okay.
No, they were rehabbed. They weren't properly rehabbed, but they were rehabbed.
And it's one of those things, like I even mentioned it to him. I was like, God, I wish when I see things like this, I wish they just wouldn't even have tried to rehab it, because now they want to get a return on their investment, and I can't give them return on investment because I got to redo everything that they just did. It was that bad.
Yeah.
And went and looked at all 3 houses, and I told him, like, dude, we're going to be low. We're going to be low. We're going to be low. And I shot him an offer price. He's like, oh, is that just for those 2 houses? Like, no, that's all 3, bud. Like, every one of these houses needs to be completely redone. Like, it was so shitty of the work that was done. And
yeah, you're talking about 4-inch foundation drops, 5-inch foundation drops. We gotta do all the flooring. That's gonna create massive cracks and everything in the walls. The sheetrock patches and stuff they did were.
Well, when they scraped the popcorn ceiling, they didn't even take it all the way to the edge. So like the entire perimeter of the house still had popcorn that was just painted over.
Yep.
It's like, dude, these like. I got to put out a good product now. Like, the market is not what it was 6 months ago. Yeah. And like Alicia just told me, she's like, oh, they did a price drop of $5 grand. I was like, they better keep dropping. And like, where 2 of the houses were not nice areas.
No, they weren't
at all. And I just like, dude, I'll give you an offer, but like, I don't want to. I'll give you the offer. Like, I don't want to take this on, but I'll take it on at that price.
Yeah.
Because it goes like, oh, he's ready to offload them. He'll let them go in a package deal. It's like, they're trash houses. Yeah. Completely trash houses.
Yeah, even the cabinets they chose, we had to, all the cabinets needed to be redone. The vanities, I mean, they must have had like a blind guy with a hacksaw cutting the back of the vanity to fit the plumbing. That thing looked like like somebody grabbed it with their teeth. It was like ripping out the back panel of the vanity to fit the plumbing in. Usually you cut nice, clean squares. This thing was splintered, broken, brand new vanities. That's like, you can't even fix this. You got to throw this vanity out, put new vanities in. The tile, the grout job, everything was just...
And it was the type of person that insane. Larry Roberts puts in. I suspect those rehabbers will be dropping out of the market soon, and I agree. Yeah. And it's like, when you look at the deed records, they were bought in like 2020, 2021, and tried to rent them out for a year, get the cheapest of the cheap contractor to do the work and to make their profit margins bigger, and now they're trying to sell on the open market. And it's like, sorry, bud, the open market's not paying for crap like that anymore.
You're trying to sell retail, but a retail buyer, you're going to get what? FHA, VA? That shit is not going to qualify for financing.
Like, the 2 houses, like, they were like, ugh. And like, that is going to be an FHA area, but like, you got to have it still look nice. And they both needed foundation issues. Both had plumbing problems. It's like, the values were, and that's also something we've started doing is like, we used to run comps on a 6 month back date.
Yeah, well, I was going to get to that. Yep.
And like, we're saying like, no, there was such a massive market shift in April and May that we're only running 3 month comps now, because if you try to go back 6 months, it's like, yes, prices were high, but now there's ones that are lower, and everyone has a tendency when they don't understand market and they just try to do things quick and not understand how this business works. They just go, oh, run my comp 6 months back, highest priced homes. I want to do those. Look at the sales price of those. When did that house contract and sell? And 6 months ago, that was February.
Yeah.
So this thing sold in February. What market were we in February? Even February, March, April, May, you were still getting ultra high prices because there was still massive amount of competition. You get low amounts.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have the problem where interest rates spiked through the roof and inventory went lower. Because when you look at appraisals, when you actually study and not just look at the money, how's an appraisal determined? They look at the most recent house in the closest proximity. So now when you got 4 houses that have sold in June and July, they're not going to use the houses that sold in February, March, and April. Yeah. They're going to take that lower price. So I did that in my analysis and prices dropped. And that's what we based it off of. He's like, he never even responded when I told him it's for all 3 houses. But it's just like, you got to look at it that way. And if you're just a fly-by-night, quick investor looking after the money, a realtor or investor, that's where you're going to get hurt. And I hope you do.
And that's definitely, I think this investor's for sure, definitely a new investor. And he decided to jump on 3 big-ass projects all at once because the market was hot. It's like, guys, that's the problem with speculating. When you speculate, the market is going to smack you down. And we were even doing the 3 months of looking at comps even back last year, but we were using it in reverse because we were seeing that in how prices kept going up. So when we were getting ready to price a home to sell, to buy, we are always conservative. We always go for the conservative number. To sell, we don't mind pushing because we know that if anything goes wrong, we have our conservative number that it still makes sense. But we were looking at what's the most active properties. What are we seeing? Are the prices going up? Are people selling for higher? Now we're using that same strategy, but to seeing the complete reverse where houses are dropping, houses are selling for less. So we're looking at like the most recent solds, the most recent actives, because those are going to be
pending sales.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm calling like, hey, are you guys over asking price? Yes, we're over asking price. How much? Well, they won't tell you. It's like, yeah, but like, can you give me like a range? Are you just like 5, 10, 20? Like knowing where that house is going to close. So like we were having to call and do research above because we go to the highest price sold, use the most recent, and then you have pending ones in there. It's like, I want to see what their offers were accepted at because it's pending, which means they're through option. They put real money into this house now. Yep. It's like the likelihood of that closing. But now you got to go backwards the other direction. And people that have come into this market, it's pulled into this market the last several years, they don't know how to do that. No. Or if they were just wholesaling, they don't care. They don't understand that stuff.
Yeah, so it's definitely, as a flipper, as a rehabber, you got to pay attention to those numbers. You got to run your numbers. Look at the comps. Look at the comps definitely in the last 3 months, in the last 2 months, in the last month. Look at those numbers because that's what is going to matter when you put your property on the market. If something, for whatever reason, changes and prices are higher, then great, you made more money. But if they keep dropping, you're going to be stuck in a really bad position.